Okay, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and make a really quick video again. I know that maybe, like I said the other day, this may not be the greatest way to communicate things for some people, but some people are finding it really helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also attach my notes that I'm working off of as I make this video today to this email, so that if you're the type of person who doesn't want to listen to my crazy antics here on screen, you can just go read those notes as well, and it should give you most of the information, but it may not give you the step-by-step like walk through the stuff. I've got my iPad on screen capture right now, so I'll be able to actually go through and show you where things are in our in our actual Schoology and stuff like that. So that was kind of my main goal. But anyway, I just want to make sure that since things are so crazy, I mean, today, like the school day was pretty nutso today, I got to be honest, with the snow day yesterday and with, you know, moving to hybrid and having to learn these new routines and everything. It was pretty crazy today. So whether the kids were in school or at home, they probably saw the woo. But that's kind of why I want to make sure that we get all of this taken care of, like here, and we all are on the same page, because there is so much going on right now, and there are new routines going into place. The biggest thing is, though, is that when kids are here with me at school, it is so important to me that I am focusing my attention on the learning. I don't want to have to be going over a bunch of procedural stuff all the time, and I know you guys can completely understand. Like, I know I have to do that, and I know I have to get kids into the right places, but if I can front load that stuff, I definitely want to do that. So what I've done is I've made a little document, like I said, that I'm going to attach to the email that is basically walking you through how book clubs in my class are going to look in this new hybrid model. Book clubs are what we're doing until winter break. So as long as we can get these routines now, we should be able to be good, you know, through winter break, and we'll be able to do the stuff that we need to do. But I wanted to clear up kind of the logistical, procedural type stuff so that I'm not wasting any time with that stuff when the kids are with me, because we've got to focus on the learning when they're here. So couple of things that I want to just remind you about. Number one, the daily lesson folders that I have, I keep those unpublished until sometime between 8 and 9 in the morning. Mrs. Ellis and I sit down every morning and go over everything that we want to do one last time, make sure we make any last minute tweaks and everything. So I've got to make like, I've had a lot of kids who have been emailing me lately, like at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, there's no work in here yet. That is because I'm still making sure that everything looks exactly how I want it to look for the kids. So I have until 9 o'clock to get that stuff posted, because that morning time is my planned time. So just tell your kids to be patient. If it's not there before 9, wait until 9. If it's not there after 9, though, make sure you email me, because I probably made a mistake and forgot to to click unpublish or whatever so that it shows up. So just let me know and I can fix that mistake, no problem. The second thing that I want to make sure I talk about is the live learning link landing page that is in those daily folders every single day. The kids can go into that folder, and I told them today I really want them to be looking at those live learning link pages every single day. And I'm going to go ahead and show kind of what one of those looks like so that you understand what I'm talking about. If I go into Schoology, oops, I'm in some other things right now. If I go into Schoology and I go into my reading courses, because we are working out of reading again, I go into the week of 11:30, you'll see these daily lessons. These folders here, you can see here how I have that, you know, Thursday and Friday are unpublished because I haven't taught those days yet. But the other days are published. Now, I want to show you something. Yesterday during our snow day, we chose not to have live learning links. And if you opened this live learning link page, it said that right there. There will be no live learning links today. So there was really no reason for anybody to question whether or not we had live learning links yesterday if they had just gone to this page, because their answer would have been right there. If you look at today's live learning link, okay, this Wednesday, December 2nd, Walsh ELA live learning link, you'll notice that today it had everything we were going to do. You notice that my links are there, so the kids, it even has the times so that the kids can know exactly what time they need to log in for their class. And then it goes through everything we're going to do today and whether or not the Google Meet will be required or not. So if you notice right here, today we did a class opener, we did read aloud. I checked in with their work from yesterday, which we really had to do some catch up on because a lot of stuff wasn't done. And then I delivered the session. after I deliver this session, there's always going to be workshop time. And during workshop time, they're going to have to work on a number of things. Like today, they had to apply our session learning, which was about getting oriented with the text by looking at the cover and the table of contents. Then they needed to go in and do a group discussion, which I'll show in a minute. And then they had to go in and start reading their actual book club book and start taking notes. You'll notice down here, number 4, that I said you've got to be jotting notes, and I want at least 4 fascinating facts and 4 questions with page numbers. Okay, so on this live learning link, that step sheet there, those steps for workshop time, are exactly what your kid is going to be responsible for when they are not learning from me directly. So for instance, if they're at home that day, I will have already delivered the session before that. They can log off at that point in time and they can go work on their work as long as they understand things, okay? If they're in class, that's when I'll start pulling groups and I'll start working with kids that way. If I go into notability, so the kids have, that's the other thing that I wanted to make sure I said. The kids actually have 2 different things in notability right now, okay? So they have, and obviously I have a lot more because of, what I've, there we go. But I have the Tapping the Power of Nonfiction notes, which is where we will always put our notability notes out of our lessons. And I will direct kids through that within my teaching, okay? This, though, is going to be a place where you can see what the kids learned that day. You can see our teaching point. You can see all of the examples and the modeling of the examples. And then you can see what you are supposed to be doing for the work that day. So that's always going to be there, and we're going to add every session. We'll just keep adding to that document. The other document they have is their book club note-taking. The first page in this for everybody is going to be the calendar with the actual, which I know you got my email that we had screwed up the dates on this, but they're going to have this calendar in there, and it tells them specifically what pages they are expected to read each day. There is a lot of reading during this unit, but it is imperative that they keep up with their groups. Really encourage the kids to read, okay? They've got to try to keep up with this stuff, and they got to keep trying to plug along and always make sure they're jotting notes when they're reading, because this is the work. In a reading unit, we read and we practice our reading skills. So that's what they're going to be doing. Then they can jot their notes then on everything after that. So you've got that as your first page, and then your notes go on after that. So those are the 2 documents they're really going to be working out of. The other thing that I had mentioned before is that there are going to be book club discussions on a regular basis. This is one of those things that's going to look way different, though, because we are hybrid. So if I showed the kids this today, and I hope that they can figure it out, but you may have to help them with this because it is something that they're not used to doing in Schoology. But what I did was I put every kid into a group, okay? And the way that you get to a group, it's just like going to a course, only it's not a course. You go to a group instead. So if you notice, when I hit this little button up at the top, my courses all came up. I'm going to hit the arrow, the back arrow, and it's going to take me to a menu where I can hit groups. And I have a lot of groups here, but your kids will only have their book club book there, okay? When I go into this, there is then a discussion, and they can go and click on that discussion, and I will have that as part of their homework. Like if they have to respond to a discussion question that day, it'll be in their list of things to do during workshop, okay? What I'm trying to do is I want to try to do when the kids are at school, I'm going to have kind of in person. I'm going to talk to them in person, and they're going to show me their notes that they're taking and stuff, and that's how I'm going to hold them accountable for their reading. But when they're at home, that'll be the time that their discussion will be web-based, and they'll be able to do it here on Schoology. When you go into these questions, it lists exactly what I want them to talk about, and then you hit discussion, except there's a whole bunch of people there, and I'm not going to do that because there's names all over the place. I'm going to go into discussion, and they can add the green plus to start typing their own answer. So I will be checking those as well as part of their participation for our book club. So like I said, guys, the kids are going to have to read every single day, okay? They're going to have to read probably a lot every single day. But that is also built into our workshop time. So a lot of times, my lesson may go really, really quick. They'll have their directive, they'll have what they're supposed to look for in their reading that day, and then they'll take off and start going. So I will be giving reading time and note-taking time in class, but they're probably going to have to do some of it outside of school as well. I mean, that is the nature of a book club unit, is that there's just a lot of reading. Every time they read, though, they need to be jotting notes as well, and they can do that in a number of different ways. If you want some examples, you can look back at my session 0 that we posted on Tuesday, because there were some examples in there if you need to help your kids figure out how they want to take notes. If you noticed on mine, when I had my book club notes there, I just had a 3-column chart with fascinating facts, questions, and central ideas. So they could do it that way. They might just want to type notes, but they always have to have page numbers. Couple other things I just want to say before I end this video, because I'm afraid it's getting too long, is kids have got to check their emails. I sent like 4 emails over the weekend. I've sent a bunch of emails about getting their books. I sent back their rubrics for their personal narratives, like tons of stuff. And I mean, I can't tell you how many kids today like walked around and was like helping them with things, and I saw that they had like 64 unread messages, and stuff like that. It is going to be imperative, especially during hybrid, that kids are checking their email, because I am sending out some updates and things like that all the time. So they need to be checking that. Maybe even turn on notifications. I don't know. That might help them if it pops up and is like, hey, you got an email, then maybe they'll check it. I don't know. Then the other thing is, I wanted you to know this unit is going to be a mix of live lessons and ed puzzles. I'm going to use those ed puzzles sometimes because it is, like I said, it's really important to me that I'm focusing on the learning when the kids are here. So I want to make sure that I am looking at their notes and I'm talking to them about how they can improve their notes and what they can capture, and things like that. So I am going to be working with kids, and while they are participating in those ed puzzles, to get the lesson delivered to them. So it's going to be kind of like a back and forth thing with that, just so that I can manage the groups here at school as well as making sure I'm in contact with those kids at home. The other things are with the live Google Meets. Okay, the thing that I want you to understand about this is I always prefer that the kid jump on the Google Meet, obviously. Hearing it directly from me is always going to be preferred to anything else, especially because I'm one of those people who, I think of something or I notice something, right on the fly, and I make sure I add it in, or I remember something that I want to mention to the kids, and I want everybody to get that same message if possible. Now, I know not everybody's circumstance is exactly the same, and that may not always be possible. So what I'm also going to do is, just like I've done all year long, I'm also going to always still put in those ed puzzles, even if I do the live lesson, and indicate that will be what you will use if you miss the live lesson. If it doesn't have that whole, if you miss the live lesson thing and the ed puzzle's just listed there, then that means that is a step that the kids have to do for that day's work. But I'll make that very clear on that live learning link page that's at the very top of their daily folder every single day. The other thing is that if the kids are logging in onto that live lesson, there's going to be a lot of times where I'm going to say, okay, guys, got any questions? Cool. All right, off you go, because then I've got to focus on the kids who are actually here at school with me. So what I've told the kids to do is, if they really are stuck, if they're not sure what to do, shoot me an email. I can at least respond after school, and they can at least get that work done later that day. Otherwise, though, they could wait until the next day, but I do worry about that because I don't want anybody falling too far behind on their reading, because then people are going to get stressed out, and I hate it when people get stressed out. The last thing just is to get those books. A lot of people still don't have their books, and guys, I only have 2 to 4 copies of each of these books in my possession, so I honestly can't. I can't be giving them out to everybody. So I had hoped that my emails before break would work, but they just didn't for probably a good half of people. So I have found a couple of other options. The library is always an option as well if you can't buy the book. I found, I just searched up a book that a girl was struggling to get her hands on, and I found a PDF online. I don't even know if that's legal that somebody has it up there, but if it's up there, you might as well read off of it, right? We didn't put it up there. Anyway, so the last thing that's in my notes is kind of just that walkthrough of the Schoology group discussions. So since I kind of walked you through that on the screen, I will just leave it at that, and I'll send these notes out. But I wanted you guys to know, like, that's kind of how everything's going to go. So just make sure you review the notes that I'm sending with this page. I really want this to be okay for everybody. Like, it's very important to me that I'm not stressing people out or overwhelming kids. And I know that not being here in person with me and having to do some of this virtually makes it a lot harder. But I guess the way I look at it is, we know this is going to be harder, so we just know we have to work harder at it. So those kids, they're gonna need support. They're gonna have to have some questions answered, and they're gonna have to be poked and prodded along, because it's a whole new routine for everybody. Not just for the kids, not just for the parents, not just for the teachers, for everyone. This is all so brand new, and we just have to work together to get through it. So if you've got any questions, guys, just shoot them my way. I will help in any way that I possibly can. But please go over these and try to find the information about the procedural stuff if you can. It's always out there, and it's always in the same place. If you can get to where it is, then you'll know what's going on, okay? But like I said, let me know if I can do anything. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all the support you guys give all the time, and let's just make these kids successful. Help them be that successful, okay? Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.